Good morning and welcome to our 52 weeks of scrapbooking. Today is November 4th and we are already on week 44. So my name is Denise Kell. Glad you're here and let's take a look at my desktop. So for week 44, it's showing in the book as being This Life Collection. The original one on my Facebook with Denise scrapbook page is Picture This. So the first thing that we do is compare the two project recipes to see that the cutting guides are the same so that we know we're good with that. So that's good. So I did have some questions about like picking the paper and do I follow the recipe exactly? And today we're going to follow the Picture This project recipe exactly as it shows in here. Now you could follow this life collection also, but again, you can use any paper that you want. You can use scraps. Like for designer paper number 2, which is the green, you can see how they're using here one side at the top, one side at the bottom. If you don't like the reverse of your paper, by all means use another sheet, or maybe you like designer paper number 3, the opposite side. So again, the cutting guide is like directions. You can follow them, you can change them up. Some people don't like using mats. Maybe you don't want to cut your mats yet until if you don't have your pictures and you want to wait till you have your pictures, you could do that. So all different ways you can decide on the paper. You can decide if you want it different. It's kind of just giving you the layout and how to do this, and it can all be changed. So for this one, you do need your 12-inch trimmer. You do need a shape punch, and I am actually going to use Camera Love exactly like it's in here. And actually, I was working on this one, and I guess you'll see in my, when I was doing the Noteworthy Simple Page Kit 10 do-over, I did use Picture This also. So now I have like 4 more pages out of the same paper pack to go together. So what you will need for this project recipe is 2 sheets of this. They're using tone on tone for the base. They use tone on tone here also, and they actually use the same color here. This yellow one is what they're using for the base. I'm going to follow, like I said, exactly Picture This project recipe, and where I'm going to use these 2 dots. So one is blue on one side, one is green on the other, and that will be my base. Okay, so then what we also need is for designer paper number 1. We are going to be using both sides of that. So let's take a look and see where this is going to be. So that is the green color here. So you can see it's this dot page here, and then these little shutters at the bottom, right? So I'm going to use exactly the same one. Now, if your paper doesn't you don't like both sides, by all means get something different for the other ones. And you'll see in some of my past videos where I've done that, where I've actually used maybe this other paper, or I've used some other scraps that I have. So again, not a problem with that. Number 2, you can see, is the blue color. So that's going to be our 3 mats, and this top up here, which is going to be the black. And it's black on both sides. So one side has a little zigzag and the other side has little V's on it. So that's our designer paper number 2. And then the third one is white cardstock, and that's just going to be some mats. So again, if you if you don't like cutting your mats to start with, you can save this white cardstock and cut your mats when you have your photos. If we look over here at this one, they have used all designer papers, no cardstock. So there, as you can see, is this green designer paper. They could have just used green cardstock, Kelly green cardstock for that. So it depends. Do you have a lot of cardstock? Do you have a lot of paper in this? If you don't want to use your designer paper, you can always cut back and use cardstock. So I'm going to follow this one. So let's get started. I'm going to put my papers down here on my mat. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It all depends, but let's do that. I'm going to put the greenish one on the right side, the bluish one on the left. I have my embellishments out that I will take a look at later. So let's start with designer paper number 1, which again we said was the green. So it's going to be A, B, C, D. So here you see I want my circles going up and down. So again, check your direction. If you have a directional paper, make sure that the top of your page, we're going to rotate it to the left or the right. It's going to be sideways. So now when I cut it this way and I turn it up, I will have the top part here. So we need to cut 2 at 2.5 inches. And one will go on one side and another one at 2.5 inches. One will go at the other side. So now you see when I rotate it, my circles are going the correct direction. And then the next ones we are going to cut at 1.5. Now again, I can use the reverse of this paper. If you don't like the reverse or you can actually get a different paper. This is going to be 1.5, and we're going to use that reverse. That for me is the shutters, and then another one at 1.5. And that will be the shutters on the other side. The rest of this paper is extra for another project, so you can put that aside. Okay, so number 2, my paper number 2 is this zigzag. Now again, this is directional. They are actually using the V's at the top here. I was just looking, so they're using the V's. So I'm going to cut it this way. I'm still going to have my zigzags going the right direction. Always cut the shortest part of your paper first. Some projects recipes sometimes have these small ones to the other side. I would always cut them first because it's really hard to cut when you only have a 1.5 inch piece of paper. So we're going to cut 2 at 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to cut that on the right hand side. And we're going to go 3/4 of an inch. That one will go on the right. And then we'll cut this one at 3/4 of an inch, and that will go on the left. Now the rest are mats, and then we've got some paper for shape. So again, if you don't want to cut your mats yet, you don't need to do that, but I'm going to cut these at 4. Now it says by 5 3/4, not 6. So it's kind of like, why do I want it at 5? Why wouldn't I want it at 6? Do I not have enough room? So those are these ones. And then we have this one down here. You know, I'm going to leave them at 6 right now. I can always cut 1/4 of an inch off later, but let's do that. Make sure you put out your little foot at the end so that your trimmer stays straight. So I'm gonna cut at 6. I can always come back and take 1/4 of an inch off. I want to see why we needed to cut that. And then we have another one at 4. And again, I'm not cutting at 5 3/4. I'm going to cut at 6. It's also better for using peekaboo pockets. And then this piece that's left, we're going to use with the punch. So I'm going to put that aside for now, and we'll come back and cut some shapes with that. Okay, the last one is our white cardstock. Again, we have some that are 3.5 by 3.5, some that are 3.5 by 4, some that are 4 by 3.5. I think because they're overlapping, that is why. So I see this one's 3 3/4, which if I leave this at 4, I may have to come back and check it. Well, we can always come back. I like 4 by 4s, but I can see overlapping why they don't have that. So I'm going to go more to what the project recipe says is at 3.5. And we're going to have 3 more at 3.5. I like when I go back to old project recipes and I actually have the paper left that I could do those. So those are the 3.5. Then we're going to have 3 of them that are 4 by 3.5. So this one we're going to cut at 4. This white cardstock's extra, so you can put that aside. And then we're going to cut these at 3.5. So 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. And we have a little bit left over. Now these, I'm going to keep these piled up. So I've got my 3 that are 3.5 by 3.5 and my 3 that are 4 by 3.5 piled up. We're done cutting other than doing our shape punch. So let's just get this dry fit and have a look at what it is. So we have piece E, which is from designer paper 2, and that's that 3/4 of an inch. Then we have A and B across there. We have our shutters going at the bottom. These is for my shapes. Put that aside. And then let's just take a look at our mat. So N, O, and P. N, O, and P are the 4 by 3.5. So they're going to go this way. And they will take a 3 3/4 by 3 1/4 photo. So we have 1, 2, 3. And see, they do overlap a bit with each other. And then we have our black ones. Remember, I left those ones as 4 by 6. And I don't see a problem with those two. And then we have one here that is a 4 by 6. This one, this is the one that's going to be a little off because this one I left cut at 3. What is that one? Oh, that's my bad. Don't cut that. I cut 3 at 3.5 by 3.5, and actually there's only supposed to be 2. M was supposed to be 3.5 by 4. So good thing I have some paper left over. So hopefully you caught that in the project recipe, because sometimes I just work a little too fast. I'm going to cut this at 4 and then at 3.5. So I missed that one. Apologies there. That happens. And we have extra, that's fine. But again, if you just wanted to use what we cut, if you're cutting along with me, then by all means, that's not a problem. Okay, and then we have, so now that I left that one, they line up. They're both 4 by 6. And yes, see, all 4 of these were 4 by 5 3/4. So I didn't mess up that. And I did leave them all at 4 by 6. And they all work at 4 by 6. This one may, yeah, it's not even lined up with that. So that's not a problem. And I really didn't lose much of that. And I can use peekaboos. And these two line up fine that way also. So it's not a problem there. That all worked out. So let's look at the punch and do some embellishing. And let's see. So they also, you can see the stars here along this border. They've actually added a sticker strip. So you could add a sticker strip to kind of cover the seam. If not, you could cut a little bit of paper. Maybe you want to use a little bit of white that we have left over. Or, you know, I could use, if there's any of this, I could do a little bit, or some other cardstock. If you have any other scraps. I was just going to check to see if I had my stickers handy or not. I do. And did I use those yet or not? We'll see what I have left in here. Huh, I got most of them left. There, so they use these stars, so I'm going to put these star stickers across here once I attach it all down. And I may not attach my photo mats until I get my pictures. And this would actually even be a good soccer page, just adding some of my soccer stickers and embellishments. But what they have on here is they have 2 punches on this one. So we'll cut some shapes out of here. That can save some paper that way. This one's not one that you can really see under to cut it. And actually, I didn't press hard enough. Oh, there we go. I haven't used this punch in a while. And that's the other thing of doing older project recipes. If you're using the paper and you've got it in stock, you know, you'll use things that you haven't used before. So this one's a journaling mat. That will be a photo journaling mat. And I like how they use the little stars on top of the cameras here. And then you still do have these little hearts also that you could use on your page. Don't throw those away. Use those. One of these up here in the corner, let me show you what, if you have picture this and you're using picture this, there are these little frames, and you can see that they didn't use that one, but they used a version. They used that one over here with some of the stickers underneath as a heading underneath there, under here. And this one, I may have used that frame already. I've used that frame. And then they have here, there are some other words. This might be cut down from a mat, and I have some mats left. I don't have them handy. So you could cut down a title from a mat, or you can just use that as a picture spot, and then use this one frame here and just have another picture there. Or, you know, we have any other sayings that we could put up here. Block when that works. So kind of goes this one again. We followed exactly to the project recipe. I hope I gave you some tips about how to use other papers, how to make decisions of, you know, if you don't like one side. And I made a boo-boo cutting, which we all do at some time, but it's not a big deal. And if I didn't have extra paper left, I would have just gone with what I had. Not a problem. I could have actually, with the smaller one, maybe I would have brought it over here as my journaling box, right? If you cut along with me and yours is cut wrong now. And then I would have had one bigger one from left over here to put there. Not, you know, ways to do it, ways to come up if you don't follow it exactly, right? And we don't, and sometimes we make mistakes, and you'll see me sometimes when I cut wrong and I put it back together with photo tape or tape chips. So different ways to fix things up. So hope I gave you some ideas. Hope you like this page. The completed page will be on my Scrapbook with Denise Facebook page, where I post to, or try to post, all of my pictures, pictures of my completed layout. So thanks for joining me today. Happy scrapping, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.